Yeah, yeah, yeah. GlowChat.
Hi, and welcome back to GlowChat, a podcast all about skincare, self-care, and everything in between. I am your host, Vic, and I am here with GlowFound founder, Claire.
Hi.
Hi. Today, we are going to be talking all about skin trends for 2026.
Yes, we are.
We have been looking a lot at all these different trends coming around recently. I feel like the start of the year, you always kind of see like what the big predictions are going to be for the year ahead. The first one that we were talking about is skin longevity. And is this basically just a rebrand of anti-aging?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I think it is. So in terms of what the skin trend is, it is moving away from, like, you'll probably notice it in marketing. They don't really talk about anti-aging as much.
Yeah.
They'll talk about collagen production. They'll talk about peptides. They'll talk about
There's like
enhancing your glow, youthful.
Yeah.
And it's more about putting things on your skin that enable you to produce more collagen or more, more hydrated. So that's kind of the trend. And I do think it is a rebrand, because I think anti-aging was probably doing the same thing, but I actually think it's the right rebrand, because there's nothing wrong with aging.
Absolutely. And yeah, because that's the thing is, I think the older you get as well, you actually, as much as you moan about, things not quite looking the same way they always did as well. But at the same time, growing old is a privilege, and it shouldn't just be, that all of a sudden you don't want to look like you're 20 when you're in your 40s as well.
Yeah, and I think it's moving away from that like frozen face. Like if I think back to like the noughties, because I'm like, that's my era.
Yeah.
People were Botox. It was like putting stuff into yourself that just made you look as young as humanly possible. And if you looked over 20, it was you were out to pasture.
I feel like that is like a big trend in itself, is that people are much more, even when it comes to like skin and aesthetics, people are much more likely to go down the route of skin boosters, like adding like hyaluronic acid like into your skin, as opposed to just freezing everything as well. So, and I think that's a good thing as well. People were just more concerned about what their skin looks like than, it just being all about wrinkles and anything like that, and like wanting that kind of frozen look.
Yeah, and I do think wellness is all about like longevity, and I feel like the skincare industry is starting to follow the same suit. So like when you look at, like, when I think about exercising, so again I go back to the noughties, and when I was in my 20s, it was like punishing your body, like being as slim as you possibly can, whereas now it's cardio.
Yeah.
Like I loved MetaFit, like the more MetaFit I could do, whereas actually now about longevity and having a longer life is about like lifting weights and lifting heavy weights,
And it's good for your bone density and everything like that as well.
and Pilates are really good for mobility. And so actually that's like where the fitness industry is actually going, is more about longevity, and I think that's the skincare.
Yeah, because I'm actually really prone to like lower back problems and things like that, and I tend to find that it gets really bad. See, if I haven't been exercising, that is when my back starts hurting. It's not from going to the gym and lifting heavy weights or doing deadlifts or anything like that. It's actually not going to the gym. And I think that's always quite good to then have that in your head, that you're not just going because you haven't been eating well, or you're trying to punish yourself, which it was probably for us growing up as well.
Yeah, like I think even like diet, like
Definitely.
It was like I'm going to say like it was eat little as possible, definitely, when I was younger, which is
And the whole like
healthy.
cheat meal era and things like that as well.
Yeah, like not thinking about like what you're putting into your body, and so I do think wellness generally is moving in a more positive space. So it's really nice to see some of the skincare industry doing the same.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm like, do I think, like, when do you start that, I suppose, is the question. When do you start your skin longevity journey?
Yeah, I think it is just, we were obviously spoke in the last episode about SPF, and I think that is so important as well, because you want your skin to be, as healthy as possible, and obviously having an SPF, and that's like a really important one to start as early as possible as well. This is not just like a kind of anti-aging thing as well, that's important to really have in it. But, we also spoke about, having, skincare marketed towards, like teens, and how you know, it's just too much too soon for their skin and really kind of doing damage to their skin barrier as well.
Yeah, like again, like I don't think skin barrier was really a thing when we were younger.
No.
Whereas, in fact, I'd never heard of that.
No.
Whereas I do think it'd be much better spending time with like younger, like teens, explaining like what is a good skin routine for their age, which is probably just like washing their face, maybe like a toner, like if they've got, because again that helps with breakouts, and probably just a good moisturiser and an SPF. Like you
SPF,
probably
yeah.
really don't need a serum, to be
No,
honest.
absolutely not.
And I also think like don't buy more stuff when you don't need to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you hear so many stories about like the teens like going into like Sephora and buying like retinol and quite harsh actives.
Absolutely. And not really knowing how powerful they are and not using them in the right way as well.
Yeah. So like definitely, yeah, I feel like if you're going to start young, I think like the biggest cheat is probably using SPF. And it's a, you know, factor 50. And then I probably would say like maybe in your like 20s, maybe late 20s, you maybe start.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how well you look after your skin.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like so much of it is genetics as well and how good your skin is and things like that. And that kind of brings us on to the next one trend, which is all about skin cycling, but in terms of like hormones and your cycle, basically, and how you should be using different products and treating different parts of your skin at different times throughout the month. What do you think of that one?
So it's interesting because like in week 1, what they say is that your skin is the most dry, and actually, and it must be to do with that you've got quite a low estrogen production, and so they say like that's the best time that you put on like hyaluronic acid, you put more moisture into your skin, and then as you then go through the like. I'm going to say the ovulation, I don't know, that week 2, we'll call it week 2. You then start to get more estrogen, your skin starts to look like plumper, more attractive.
Probably a bit more youthful.
More youthful.
As well, yeah.
And then that's probably a time when you can then start to use like maybe more active, so maybe lean into something that you would use. And probably weeks 2 and 3. And in weeks 4 is when you start to get a lot more oil production, your barrier reduces and you get those breakouts. And I definitely get that.
Definitely.
I get the jawline breakout, which is really frustrating, but I've actually had a few women message and say they get that and it's really painful.
Oh, yeah. So when I was younger, I mean, I'm not when I was really young, growing up, I never had like great skin. It was always kind of like prone to spots and things like that. But I would say probably late teens into my 20s, I had like cystic acne, which was like on my jawline particularly, and you know, went to the doctor and they give you like all these different things, but eventually I had to go on Roaccutane for my skin, and that did make like the biggest difference to it, because it was, like you said, really, really painful, and it just dominates everything that you do in your life. Like, there's no way I would have done a podcast or anything like that at that point, because it's just, and it was like big lumps on my skin as well. It wasn't just that you can cover up with makeup, anything like that, and it is just so, there's just no way you can get around it. It's just, you just judge your own worth basically on what your skin likes and how you feel about yourself as well.
And I think as well, like that's where like medical grade skincare is really needed.
Definitely,
because like, you know, sometimes you do need that. I know people that they needed it because they had really bad acne, and it's the only way they could fix it. But I wasn't particularly spotty as a teenager or even in my 20s. I've actually noticed in my late 30s. But I think it's like something like, I want to say like 55% of women between 20 and 40 have experienced like adult acne, which I was quite surprised by, but I also I was surprised by, but then actually when I thought about it, I do know a lot of people that get that.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's something that's obviously not talked about. You just assume acne is like a young teenage thing.
Yeah. And you feel like you should have grown out of it by that point as well. And it's just like, you know, that you shouldn't be having to deal with spots and things like that, you know, like, in your 30s. Yeah.
You're like, I was meant to be past this phase. It should just be wrinkles at this point. So I like this trend. I think My only concern with that trend is like then people then buy more product. Like you're then buying a lot of products to deal with like effectively 4 different weeks worth of skincare challenges.
Definitely.
So I
think
think
it's maybe just knowing that in certain weeks that not to maybe even try new products and things like that at certain times where your skin's already feeling a bit more dry than normal. Then if you start using like a retinol or something really quite harsh on your skin, then it's not necessarily the product that's wrong, it's maybe just the wrong time of the month for you, how you're actually going to respond to it as well.
yeah, so definitely don't try anything in week 4
Yeah.
when everything's reduced. Week 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Week 2 and 3.
Do you find that your skin changes quite a lot throughout the month?
I do, but then this challenge I have is it takes, I don't know about you, but I find when I get spots now, it takes like a couple of weeks to die down and then I'm like back in my cycle.
Yeah.
So I definitely notice that my skin definitely gets like the jawline outbreak and I can notice it's more oily. And what I find is I have to just like, I reduce quite a lot of even makeup in those weeks just to try and give my skin a break and not put so much onto it.
Yeah. And they talk about even things like cutting out dairy and things like that in certain weeks as well, how that is like such a big thing for skin as well.
Yeah, so I don't eat a lot of dairy for that reason, which is annoying because chocolate is really nice.
Yeah. Not cutting that out.
Not cutting that out, and
No.
cheese. But I typically don't eat as much of it. But I do, so I definitely notice a hormonal cycle change. Do you notice it?
Yeah, not probably so much now, I don't feel. But I feel like now I'm probably much more aware of, I mean, perimenopause is probably something that's like not too, far in the distance for me. I'm 40, I'll be 42 later on this year as well. So, it's just being a woman, it's just a never ending cycle of just having one shit thing after another to deal with. It's like teenage breakouts and then it's like, oh no, actually adult acne, and then before you know it, it's perimenopause and
then
things
it's
like that.
menopause.
Yeah, it's really depressing actually.
Do you know when my skin looked best? When I was pregnant.
Really?
Yes, I always got so many compliments that I really suited pregnancy because I had that like pregnancy glow. Which was lovely because both my pregnancies
Your
were
hair gets really thick as well because it doesn't fall out and
doesn't
things like
fall
that.
out, which was nice because both my pregnancies were high risk, so I actually had a lot of challenges through
yeah.
it. But I really suited it, and I did notice that, and I'm not gonna lie, I do miss it. That's what the skin I would like to get back to.
And how did that change actually then when you gave birth?
Like when the baby arrived. Took a bit of a dip. So my skin was quite dry. Because I didn't breastfeed for long, but if you breastfeed, like they're babies, they just take everything out. They just take everything out of you. And I probably wasn't looking after myself the best because particularly when I was a first time mum, because you're just grabbing stuff as you go. You're not
you must not really even be aware if it's like morning, noon or night.
No,
to be
yeah.
honest with
So
you,
like
one day just like goes into the next one.
No, it does. Definitely my first child. I was just like, what day, like you're just eating whenever, and you're probably not eating the healthiest things because you're in recovery as well.
You probably got like a baby in one hand, so it's whatever you can kind of eat
one-handed. Yeah. And so it is really hard, and I would always like to put something on the website that's for like maybe people that have just had a baby, so like an easy skincare routine that they can do, because I know that again we've had a few mums reach out where they say that like they just don't feel their best after. And I think if you go from the pregnancy glow of having like your skin's really nice and your hair's lovely shiny, and then you give birth and then you don't sleep, and
that's such a big factor as well, isn't it? It doesn't matter how many amazing products you're using. If you're used to getting a really good night's sleep every night and then all of a sudden you're not sleeping well, then it's just
not great.
It's going to be such a huge shock to your skin.
And then you go through perimenopause and then you go through menopause. So yeah, it's great. I'm so excited. But
it's just so much to look forward to, isn't it?
But I do think I like this trend, so I'm intrigued to see how it kind of plays out, and how people if people do change during like the cycle and what their skincare.
Yeah, there's definitely like different times in the month where I feel like when you put your makeup on, like I was saying today, I feel like put your makeup on and it just like gathers in every single pore and it just doesn't blend out the same way. And obviously I wasn't well last week as well, so then you don't know how much of it's just like, obviously I wasn't, I'm normally like a really healthy eater and things like that, and I've always say that because I eat so many vegetables I never really get sick and things, so so obviously then last week just not even really getting any nutrients and things like that, I feel like that does play such a big part of like how good you feel in your own skin and things as well.
Yeah, like you definitely notice when you put your makeup on and you're like, this is just highlighting every issue I have.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not doing anything.
No, not at all. And then the last trend that is definitely something we're seeing more of, which I don't really know that either of us are best placed to talk about, and that is minimalist routines.
I know.
Yeah. Just, again, I suppose it kind of goes hand in hand with not using too many active products and then stripping it all back. What's the kind of like minimum you would use for your routine?
I was going to really strip it back. I would probably use a cleanser. I would use one cleanser. I do like a double cleanse, but I feel like if you're going to strip it back, you would strip it back to one cleanse. I would have an SPF. A toner. I couldn't give up my toner pads. They do really help. So I'd probably do a cleanser, toner pads, and an SPF is what I would use if I had to really strip it back, which frustrates me because I really like my Raven Botanicals clarifying serum. Like that was quite hard to give up.
Yeah. So how do you use that serum in your routine? Do you use that at the end? Because I tend to use that just kind of like before I go to bed. That one,
Oh yeah, no, I use it twice a day. So I use it. So I'd use it.
So this is Raven Botanicals, which is, and it's like an oil, but it is so nourishing for your skin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got like niacinamide in it. It's actually won awards for helping reduce acne and rosacea. It's won awards for acne, but it's also meant to really help with rosacea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So just anything which, I suppose if it's got niacinamide, that's really good for taking redness out of your skin and things as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has nettle in it as well.
Right, okay.
So I would usually do if I do a morning, I only do one cleanse. I would then use my toner pads, which are my new ones, and then I would use that serum. In fact, my routine is pretty much nearly the same for day and night.
Yeah.
And then I would use my moisturiser. I would use that as my routine. And then at night time, I just add a double cleanse. So I use the Oils and Bloom Glow Balm to take off my makeup.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's like my full routine. So I use that serum every day. So it would be a struggle to give it up.
So basically, no, this is not a trend.
No,
that
it's
we
not-
will find.
no, it's not a trend.
Yeah, I think once you've actually established products that work really well for your skin and that help your makeup go on better as well, that's what I tend to find, that it's not even so much about, my skin. It's like how all my other products then line up after it. Makes such a difference as well. Yeah, but yeah, we're not really the minimalists.
Yeah, we're not. We're maximalists.
Yeah,
skincare.
Yeah, I feel like I've figured out now like what products work for me, what I need in my routine and things like that. I know I mentioned like vitamin C before. I feel like that definitely helps brighten up my skin. I feel like that's where, even like from having had acne in the past, when you've had this and you think, oh, as soon as I get rid of the spots, like I'm going to feel amazing about my skin. But then it's something else. It's with acne scarring or enlarged pores, all these kind of things as well. So, and really just having that, I never felt like I get that like luminosity in my skin as well. It just always felt like I put products in and they would just sink in. Whereas I feel like vitamin C been like a big game changer for me, just adding that into my routine, and it does definitely give you that kind of like little glow with it as well. So I definitely feel, but I know you can't use that if you have like any kind of acne. It's too harsh basically for your skin as well. But I definitely feel like that's helps me the majority of the time as well. Getting that glow. Absolutely, yep.
But I can understand why. So I think people are like 10 steps is a lot. Like also people don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And obviously my job is looking at skincare, so I enjoy having a very long skincare routine.
You're doing research for
Yes,
purposes as well.
100% it's just research. Whereas I can totally see why people are busy. I feel like we're busier now than we've ever been, and you only maybe have time to do like a couple steps in the morning. So I think people are looking a lot more for multi-purpose products. And that's where I do think there's like a lot of serums out there that like they maybe do more than one thing. So I can see why people need to reduce it, and also the cost of living. Like skincare can be expensive.
Yeah. We were also talking earlier about how, back in the day, skincare, it was either the kind of like cheap rubbish that you would get from like chemists or Boots and places like that, or there was the kind of high end skincare that you would get from, like Harrods or Fraser's or somewhere like that. That was like the kind of like the big beauty hall. There was nothing really in between that. It was either like simple skincare or it was, like the really kind of big brands like Estee Lauder, that kind of thing. Whereas nowadays you can get really good, effective skincare for so much less. I mean, I know obviously The Ordinary was probably one of the first brands that had like a really, really good price point that seemed almost like too good to be true. I remember when that first came out and it was like, what?
Yeah.
All these, amazing, products that were under £10 was totally unheard of really before that.
Yeah, and I think that they don't spend a lot of money on marketing in their packaging. So, and actually, that is if you're looking for a good quality skincare, that's something to do. I think the other one, the Inky List, is quite good.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of good. We tried the Inky List hyaluronic acid in January, and we've had a lot of people say that
I really like their eye cream as well. Actually,
eye
it's
cream's
really
also
good.
really good. And obviously with the Glow Found Collective, you get 20% off all your products.
Absolutely.
You get to test a free one every month. And I think that's a good way. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to do it, is so that people could get to try new things.
And also a big part of that is that we are actually looking for feedback on these products as well, to see, what kind of, skin type that you have, how good do you find that this product is for your skin. It just helps us kind of like, going forward, knowing exactly what products we should be buying, what skin concerns people have, and, what products actually help them so that we can help more people that have got the same kind of skin issues as well.
Yeah, and like you say, like, because I think as our collective grows, I would love to have, like, if you've got acne prone skin, like, we're going to try these products this month. If you've got drier skin, we're going to try these this month. And then you can then start to see a little bit more for your skin type.
Definitely.
That's
one thing that we also want to do is, have like a kind of like forum, and we've spoken about having a Facebook group or something like that, so that people can come in and actually just talk about their skin issues and be like, by the way, I've tried that product, it does not work if you have kind of like active acne or anything like this, but this product here really made such a difference. That's what we want, is people just to be sharing, their own experience with it as well.
Yeah. So I can totally see why, like, minimalist skincare routines, and also dermatologists do warn that we use far too many actives.
Yeah.
But again, I think that comes from like a lack of understanding, because there's a lot of information out there, and it's not because people don't want to find the information. I think it's hard to distill it down.
Yeah.
And so therefore people will then go with what the trend is, because it's easier to do that.
I mean, even like how reactive algorithms are. Like if you like one video which is about PTRN, and then all of a sudden every single video, and you think, oh my God, I really need to add this to my routine because all these people were talking about this like one particular product, but you don't actually really know what it does or anything like that for the majority of people. It's just it is a trend, as well. It's just adding all these things in, not really knowing whether they're not, one, they need it, or if it's actually going to make a difference to their skin as well.
Yeah. Like you say, it gets so easy to get like sucked in. And I do the same. Like, I'm like, I really need to try that. I don't actually really need to try that. I did have a friend who was like, I really just need collagen. I'm like, I actually don't think you need a collagen cream. I think you need a good vitamin C and SPF, which is actually cheaper combined than if you got the collagen cream. And I think, but again, that's because collagen's been so on trend, and it's been such the big, I would say, big active or buzzword for quite a while.
Not even in terms of facial products, but in terms of, you know, all the kind of little like sachets and things like that you can take as well, and just so many products. It's all about collagen, isn't it?
Yeah. So she's actually got those products away to like see if they work on her skin. And that's actually what I'd like to do more of with GlowFound as well, like because we get a lot of people that message us saying, I've got this issue, and actually helping people and recommend like these are the type of products I would recommend.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need like the most expensive product. You maybe just need a few good products of what you're like trying to tackle.
Yeah, because that's the thing about GoFind, that there are so many different ranges, and you know, lots of them are, you know, under £15. You know, it's a really good price point where you don't need to spend an absolute fortune. And this is for like really good size products. It's not, you know, products that's only going to last you like a month or anything like that. You know, it's ones that are going to last you, that you'll actually get your money's worth from as well.
Yeah, well, products should last you about 8 weeks on average.
Yeah.
Depending on obviously how much you use them.
Definitely.
So, but again, like the Melt and Glow Balm, I got in September and it lasted me. It was quite a deep pot. You've seen it.
There's a lot in it.
It's £30.
And that's by Oils and Bloom.
Oils and Bloom, but it lasted me like 5 months because I do it as a first cleanse. So I only use it at night. So again, like I think if it's minimalist and it's maybe driven by cost, I think it's maybe looking at maybe you get maybe something slightly more expensive, but it might be bigger, and then it lasts you longer. So I think there's probably different ways to look at the minimalist trend. But in terms of reducing products, I don't think that's for me.
No, I feel like I'm too old for that now, sorry. It's the more the merrier of my skin. Leave that to the kids, that trend.
Like the young ones, they can take it.
Absolutely. So that's one trend that we will definitely not be buying into. But you can find all our latest range on GoFound Official, and you can find us on Instagram there. And that is it for this week.
Yeah,
Yes.
sharp.
Yes. Getting through all the trends. So thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, yeah.